Tibby, trackside 1 heading across the Tasman now. Up to Queensland where we catch up with Greg Martin from Brisbane. Greg, good afternoon to you.
Hello, lads.
Yes, look, it's an exciting weekend this weekend, Gregory. How big is the World Cup in Australia? We know it's huge in New Zealand, but, you know, rugby really punching above its weight with all the competition in regards to sports. Has this been making the headlines?
Oh, yeah, mate. It finally got some sporting oxygen in the media. It was straight after the grand finals of AFL and Rugby League. That's when rugby started poking its head up, and we beat England, and then we beat Wales, and then we beat Scotland. And every game, it's just getting a little bit more, mate. Everyone's going a little bit crazy and going, oh, yeah, I'm a rugby fan. So, mate, it's the best thing that's happened here for... Jeez, I would reckon since the 99 World Cup Final, it's finally given rugby a little bit of a kick over here, and you know how much trouble we have getting attention.
Yeah, that's right. Look, the Wallabies, they seem intimidated by calling the All Blacks by their famed name, the All Blacks. Is this something you buy into, that it's perhaps a good tactic? I'm not so sure that the All Blacks would take that very kindly.
No, they're not even paying any attention to the All Blacks, and who cares if they take it kindly or not? Mate, it's just another one of the psychological weapons that Checker pulls out. He's been doing it forever, so he's a wily old dog. Yeah, the rest of Australia will call you the All Blacks, but the team's just focusing on themselves, and that's what they've been doing the whole time. Haven't talked about any of their opponents, so don't take it personally.
Won't take it personally. Marto, Steph here, mate. Look, fresh,
Hello, mate.
Hot off the press today, 50% of Australians cannot pronounce Australia. They say Australia, but I'd like to tell our viewers that you're one of the more clever Australians I've ever met. In fact, you predicted the win for Australia in Australia. You predicted the loss for them at Eden Park. I want your prediction for this week.
There's no way in the world we can beat you, Staff. That's common knowledge. No way in the world. You go through it, Staff. Like, how do you analyse? You guys are in this business. You know, how do you analyse it? Your fullback's better than our half-arse one at the moment. Your wingers are better. Your centres are better. Your halves are better. Your second rows are better. Front row, oh, yeah. I reckon we're only better than you in the back row. Is that enough to win a game? Maybe.
It's not, mate. It's not. And the interesting thing is, I've heard a story that Australia will go to number one team in the world if they win the final. I just want to point out, and since 2011, Australia have lost 21 games. The All Blacks have lost 5. And it's 10-2 to us between the two teams. What's wrong with this system?
I like the fact that you're even thinking about it. Mate, well, if you win the World Cup, you're the best team in the world. That's why you've been the best team in the world for the last 4 years. Don't worry about ratings. Don't even care about ratings. If you win the World Cup, you're the best team, and everyone's acknowledged you guys have been the best team for the last 4 years. Maybe on the back of our defence, we can pull this off. Mate, how do we beat you in Sydney? No one knows. We're rubbish. You know, we're a rubbish team before we ran on the field, but we are probably the greatest defensive team in the world at the moment, and that might be enough.
Yeah, but you have been without the Bledisloe Cup for longer than you've been without the World Cup, Greg. But, look, I want to comment from...
What do you reckon about my idea? We play for the Bledisloe Cup, so we've got something to drink out of. You can't fit enough beers in that World Cup.
Oh. Not for Australians, yeah. For Australians, I know. We're happy with thimbles, mate. We know moderation. Moderation's not in the Australian dictionary.
Yes, I've tasted your beer other than Steinlager. That's all you'd want to drink too, Stas.
Hey, Stephen Moore, your captain, he's played over 100 tests, but you know he's not really in the ilk of your World Cup winning captains, Nick Farr-Jones and John Eales. Tell us a little bit about this bloke, because he's flying under the radar. Richie McCaw's getting all the attention this week.
Staff, I'll just go to his 2 years in the first 15 at Brisbane Grammar School. His coach was me. I had him at prop and I didn't make him captain. How good is that? I didn't realise he was a hooker, and I didn't realise he had much leadership about him. Mate, he was born in Saudi Arabia. It's a really weird story. His old man's a doctor, Irish doctor. Mum's Irish. They decided to get out of Ireland. Had him in Saudi Arabia. They then came to Australia, went to Rockhampton, which anyone knows is halfway between Brisbane and Cairns. Actually, a little town outside of Rockhampton. My father-in-law, who was a Wallaby, he spotted him up there. He was also a doctor up there. You stop me when it gets boring. He spotted him and rang me and said, oh, can we put him in a school down there in Brisbane? This kid's all right. This is when he was 12, so they did. He was a boarder at school. Then his family went, oh, we miss him. They moved down to Brisbane. I didn't have him at hooker, but he seemed to kick on pretty nicely, mate. He is the most humble yet very serious man. He had that terrible... You guys may not have paid attention, but last year in the first test, he was made captain of the Wallabies, and this is a great thing, and all the interviews that go along with becoming a new Wallaby captain, did his knee in the first 2 minutes. You reckon that doesn't humble you a bit more? So he had to step aside, and that's when Hooper and Pocock became captains, and Hooper got injured. Then we ended up with 21-year-old Hooper as our captain. Stephen Moore comes back, and they couldn't make him captain quick enough, mate. He's one hell of a person within that team. Doesn't appear to be a statesman like Nick Farr-Jones or Ilsey. Doesn't waste words. He's just a bloody hard bastard.
Yeah, he's good. And getting all the press is Pocock and Hooper, but for me in the semi-final, Scott Fardy is a name that doesn't get mentioned often. He was clearly my man of the match. He just rolls his sleeves. He's like a New Zealand forward, Marto. He's a huge plus in this pack.
So true. Tell me again when I start to bore you, but you know his story. He's 26 years of age and he's playing over in a really small Japanese club. The tsunami hits. This is 2011, right? Remember the earthquake and then the big tsunami wiped out the nuclear reactor? He was in a town not far away from there. All the other overseas players bailed out. We just went, oh, geez, I'm out because they called off the season that year. They all bailed and came back to Australia and New Zealand and South Africa. He stayed there and helped actually a couple of the Tongans, and Peter Alatini also. They all stayed. The people from his little team stayed and looked after the town and pitched in. It was quite incredible. So, again, he's a real bloke, mate. He then came back, got a run at the Brumbies, said, oh, yeah, we've got one spare posse. At the age of 29, he made his debut. He is a real Kiwi type of player, hard and tough and everything else. But you wait until you're 29 to play your first test match. You appreciate every moment, and that's how he is, mate. I had a chat to him this morning. He's a real down-to-earth bloke.
Win or lose this weekend, Greg, how do you rate Michael Cheika's performance in his first year as coach of the Wallabies? Even if you guys lose this weekend, which you probably will it still be a successful year?
Oh, of course it is, mate. But, you know, when you and Mackenzie, when all the trouble went down this time last year, and after that Bledisloe Cup in Brisbane where we just got it was a draw, wasn't it? The lonely figure that's walked away when he announced his resignation straight after the game, we went, oh, now what's going to happen? Well, obviously we're not going to go anywhere. You remember we tumbled to 6th earlier this year, 6th in the world. And Cheika had faith because he knows, mate, he's won a Heineken Cup with Leicester, then he's come over here and he's won a Super Rugby Championship. The bloke knows what he's doing. He's got a real sense of leadership about him, and he's got the players to buy in. We were an absolute rabble, especially after Robbie Dean's at the completion of his term, and then you and Mackenzie tried to get things right, couldn't quite get buy-in from the players. Cheika's got buy-in, and they're all believing in what they're doing. Mate, he's a pretty remarkable bloke. I guess you know the stories. He doesn't need the money. He's a self-made millionaire through the fashion business, which, have a look at him. Does he look like he knows anything about fashion? Yeah. No, especially that hair, that little tuft you could hit a golf ball off on the front of his head. But doesn't matter, mate. He's got the players all doing the same thing. That's pretty right. Handy having Nathan Gray. You guys remember him at inside centre for the Wallabies. He's a defence coach. And that's what he was good at, defending. So, mate, we're in a good place. Absolutely. Quick prediction from you. What's the margin going to be? You said you think the All Blacks will win by how many? No, mate. What are we paying, mate? Are we $3.20 over there?
$3.
$3. Oh, you're getting nervous already. It was $3.20 earlier this week. Mate, I'll be taking the Wallabies and keeping the fingers crossed because it ain't going to be a big margin. You're not going to score heaps of tries against us. We've got to make sure we limit the penalties and take any points. I know we're inferior, but on one given day, and it may again be this Saturday, I'm going the Wallabies to win by 4 points. Wallabies by 4. Hey, thanks for your time. Best of luck this weekend, and it's been a pleasure having you on. Yeah, I love your show. See you, boys. Good stuff. There's Greg Martin, and he loves the trackside show. So does Steph and I. It's been a good afternoon. Hey, Steph, thanks very much for coming in. No worries. Been a pleasure. You sticking to that 15 to 21? Yeah. Okay. Marto's made me even more determined now. Okay. Yeah, all right. I've got the faith, mate. They haven't got the best defence we have. Yeah, I agree. Were you watching the game this week? I haven't decided. Probably just at home. I like watching by myself, strange as that might seem. Rugby's serious. It's not a party. So I'll be in my number ones watching at home by myself. Probably that's how I like to do it. Okay, good stuff. Hey, and best of luck to you this weekend. That's our Rugby Cup special preview this afternoon. Thanks to all our guests. We'll take off now to Ballarat, racing